Take a quick look now at the markets. The rand touching 14 rand to the US dollar today. So what happened? Rand hedges surged. The likes of Richmond adding more than 6%, and British American Tobacco also up 4%. Sasol enjoying the weak rand as well. So did papermaker Sappi. So the JSE up by more than 1% today, and those disappointing retail sales figures saw investors pull out of retailers, with Spar really bucking the trend. They did well. The all share 1% in the green, as I said. And as far as mining shares are concerned, well, a strong performance from diversified miners that capped the JSE in positive territory today. More than 3% gains for Glencoe and Anglo American. As far as commodities are concerned, well, let's take a look at the prices. Brent crude oil, the big mover. The price of oil rising sharply on reports Saudi Arabia intended to cut production more than expected this year. And as we said, spotlight on the rand. Look at that, 14.03 to the US dollar. Both local and international factors weighing on the rand. But those disappointing retail figures didn't help, and load shedding continues to hurt sentiment. So the local currency now 14.03 to the greenback, 15.81 to the euro, and above the 18 rand mark, 18.03 to the British pound. Well, Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers has been watching the markets. He joins us now from our Durban studio. Makwe, as always, thanks indeed for joining us this evening. It looks like it was a day for rand hedge shares. Really, the rand doing well on the day, well, in terms of its hedge capabilities, now going to 14 rand to the US dollar. So those hedge fund shares really doing well.
Yeah, sure, by all means. And I think we need to note that the rand hedge shares are the kind of shares that make most of their money from outside South Africa. So meaning they're selling in dollars, but their costs are in rands. So every time when you see a rand weakening, then they tend to benefit. But also we saw the likes of diversified mining companies also going up. And I think mainly at the back of the oil price going as high it was going, and all because of what Saudi Arabia have said. So also we saw our diversified mining companies going up, like you mentioned in your intro, your Glencos and your Anglos.
At the same time, I mean, Makwe, what we've seen today was a slump in retail shares. I mean, today we had retail sales coming up confirming that, it wasn't a great December indeed for retailers. But Spar obviously bucked that trend. What do you make of the retailers' performance today?
As you are saying, I mean, they were very disappointing numbers because the market was expecting a number just above 2%. So the minute you get a number like that, and bearing in mind that November, we had a very nice growth of almost 3.1% when it comes to our retail sales. But that also continues to confirm that South African consumers are still struggling, let alone the issues of VAT, the high unemployment, the issue of electricity. And, people don't have confidence. Consumers tend to spend if they are confident about their future. So that's very unfortunate for our retailers, and as well that to get this whole situation to be exacerbated, you get the likes of your Waikiki, your likes of H&M and Cotton On also putting pressure on our retailers. So retailers generally are no longer making good money as they used to.
Makwe, we are teasing that 14 rand to the dollar mark. At least we were teasing that this afternoon. Come evening, we're above that, 14.03 to the US dollar. I know it's been an international story here with emerging market currencies suffering globally, but surely Eskom is not helping the rand.
By all means, and it's very interesting given that, the developments when it comes to US and China, the developments when it comes to US itself, when it comes to its shutdown, that, risk is back on, meaning you'll have expected the likes of the rand to gain. But yes, you are right. For the fact that Eskom is doing what it's doing, people are talking about the economy losing almost 2 billion a day. That's not good at all. And also, the retail sales disappointing the way they are also put a damper on the rand. And, I think going forward, the Devon, it's more a question of these investors that we are trying to attract to the country, will they be able to come if we cannot guarantee them, a constant supply of electricity? So that itself is not looking okay. And there are rumors that the likes of Standard & Poor, they're saying so far the policies of the ruling party, they're kind of credit negative. So that as well is not helping the rand at all.
Makwe, this oil price looks like it's heading in one direction. I suppose it's gains, good news for Sasol, but for motorists, not so great. What is behind this oil price, and where do you see it going?
You know, we know OPEC, they've agreed, and other non-OPEC members, the likes of Russia, that as from January, they'll continue to cut production. But for Saudi, which is more or less a de facto leader of the OPEC group, I mean, indicating that they're going to cut more than what they indicated earlier, that gave a little boost to what you call it, the oil prices. And I think for this year so far, oil has gone up by almost 20%, and also the likes of what is happening with Venezuela, the tension that side, that the supply will be an issue. But what also gives a bit of a cushion to oil price is the effect of global growth, that people are worried that the growth won't be there. So if there's no good global economic growth, then the demand of oil won't be good as well. So as well, I mean, that is helping. So, but the main thing which is driving oil prices for now is this whole thing that the guys will continue to cut production, and unfortunately the likes of Venezuela, they are cutting by accident, so it's giving a boost to oil prices.
All right, before you go, I mean, I should have asked you this earlier, but Curo also releasing results today. That's the independent school group. Great results. What do you think?
By all means, the guys managed to increase the numbers of kids who are attending there, managed to increase their revenue. And I think we need to note that since most consumers are struggling, people are struggling, then people who can no longer afford the model, I mean, the private schools, they downgrade to the likes of Curo. Hence, we see the likes of Curo continuing to attract the numbers. And also those other people who are starting to make it better, they move to Curo if they cannot afford your likes of the private schools. So Curo is well positioned going forward.
All right, thanks very much indeed. Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers talking to us there from our Durban